Hello my scrapping friends and welcome to Creating Your Memories. I'm Deborah Kozlovic and I'm a Creative Memories independent from Australia. I'm also a member of the Creative Memories design team, and I was lucky enough to get a close-up look of the new collection that is being released this week, The Magic of Christmas. I have a couple of items to this collection, and I was also lucky enough to create the project recipe for this month. So in this collection that I can show you with the little goodies that I received to create my project recipe is the Magic of Christmas stickers. These are gorgeous, vintage icon stickers, and you've got the beautiful headings and, titles or just wording that you like to place on your page. And you also have the nice border strips. You've got the candy stripes, you've just got the plain plaid, and then you've got some pine leafing on the side there. And also in this collection that I was lucky enough to create my layout was the new decorative border punch ornaments. This is a gorgeous punch, and as you can see, you've got these nice ornaments along the edge of your punch, and you can use that for a border to create on your page layouts. So that is the border punch. And the other thing that I got was the Magic of Christmas designer papers. So these papers include, like different things. You've got your plaid, then you've got your stars, you've got your vintage icons, you've got some glittering snow, you've got your foliage, some beautiful red bows, you've got your poinsettias, just some pine leaves, you got some more iconic Christmas decorations, you got your brown stripes, Christmas trees, and then you've just got some leaves there. So it is a 12 pack of designer paper. You get two choices, two of each, and they are also double-sided. So just bringing in that border punch, here are a couple of strips that I've punched with the border punch, and as you can see by the design with the ornaments, so you have the red, and then I've punched it out in the gold shimmer. So, and just put it on a layout, you can, just cross match that. Yeah, but just get it a little bit untangled and just offset it a little bit, and it makes a nice little border. So the page that I was lucky enough to create for Creative Memories, I designed, it's a double page layout. And what I've created was, on my first page layout, I've used the border punch to make a Christmas tree. And then I've added the reindeer and his sleigh down the bottom, some foliage, and then you've got your one main photo off on the side from the tree. And the other page that consents with that, and my second page layout, as you can see, it's got a few more little photos that are added to it. You've got your 3 photos up the top, and then your one main photo down here, and then you've got a nice little, like making a wish, and then you've got your little journaling box down the side there. So I'm going to show you how I basically created this layout for you. If you're after this layout, you can ask your advisor, and your advisor will be able to download this from the back office of Creative Memories, and then you'll be able to get a copy of that. When it's released, I will also add that copy of that in my description bar below this video. So to start off with, we're going to cut our strips and everything we need, and then we're going to do some punching, and then I'm going to show you step by step how I created this Christmas tree. So to create this layout today, you're going to need 2 bright white cardstocks. I also used the dark green cardstock, the icon ornament, and then on the reverse you've got your brown stripes, the foliage with your red bows, the pine leaves, and on the back is the poinsettia. And this is the paper, designer paper, that I use to mat my photos with. So to start off with, we'll do some cutting and then we'll go on to the tree. So I'm just going to place those ones aside. So first of all, we're going to start off with, just got to come back onto my cutting instructions. So we're going to bring in the 12-inch trimmer. We're going to start with might start with the bows and the foliage. And on that we need, so we start off the foliage page. So we need 2 1.5 by 12 strips. And then we need 3 1/2-inch strips. So that would be your red. So just turn that over. So we need 3 1/2-inch by 12 strips. And then one more. So repeating that, that is 1/2 inch by 12. Oops. And then if we go onto our icon paper now, we need 2 1/2-inch strips by 12. So these 1/2-inch strips, these are used to create the tree. So another 1/2. And then we also need a square box, and that is for the little planter box that is below the Christmas tree, and that is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So I'm just going to trim that off, and then placing that back in and marking that at 1 3/4. So there we have our little trunk box of our tree. And then we're going to move on to the green cardstock, and we're going to measure that at 3 1/2 by 12. And then we need to do some punching with the green cardstock. Then we go on to our pine leaves, and the pine leaves, that is cut at 4 1/2 by 12. And then you have 2 4 1/2. I should say a 4 1/2, and then we're going to cut that into 2 6-inch. So that's 4 1/2 by 6 for your photo mats. And that's all the cutting that we are going to do at the moment. So now I'm just going to place the rest of my paper just aside for a moment, and then bring in our 2 white cardstocks. So all our 1/2-inch strips, you can put them aside because they are to create the Christmas tree. And you also can put your little cube away. So this is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. If you have the square punch, you can also use the square punch on that. So to start off with, just going to adhere the 2 foliage at the bottom of my bright white cardstock. So just adhering that down the bottom, and then also on the reverse side. So then once we've done that, I'm going to bring in the stickers now, and I'm going to use the candy stripe, and that is going to sit above the foliage on each page. And then the reverse. So also above. And then we're going to get our green cardstock. Just bring in my base page. So we've got our green cardstock. So now we're going to adhere that on the side, and it's round about 1 inch from the edge. So it's about 1 inch. And then we have our 4.5 by 12. And this is to lay out your photos on top of this one. So just checking those photo sizes, and those photos are 3 3/4. So it must be 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. No, I'm sorry, they aren't. They're 3 3/4 by 4 inches. So 3 3 3/4 by 4. And I've placed this one to place this one down. So it's 1/2 inch from the top. And then in between that we have a red bow strip. So I'm just going to put some repositional tape on that. And that's round about, just might have to bring in my, no, I won't bring it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of my photo mats that are 4.5 by 6. Oops, just get some more repositional tape. And as you can see on layout 2 here, I have that photo mat sitting right on the edge of the candy stripe, and then that red bow one is sitting just above that photo mat. And that photo mat is around about 3/4 from the edge. And now I'm going to stick the red stripe just above that photo. So as you can see, there is layout 2 completed. And the only other thing that I've placed on there is you've got your photos, and then your bigger photo is, I think it's 5 3/4, no, 5 1/2 by 4. So this one is 5 1/2, 5 1/2 by 4, and then you've got 4 by 3 1/4. And then here I've just, you know, like used my stickers to place down on the green so they stood out. And the white strips are our little, I'll just find them. And they are our ride-on stickers. So they come in a pack like this, and you can actually get the black and the white. And what I've done was I've just cut it in half and then place them down on the layout so I can use them as a journaling box. So that is layout 2 completed. So now we're going to move over to the layout 1. And the layout 1 is the main feature. So that features the Christmas tree. This mat here is for your photo. And then you have, that is leftovers. So we can place that aside. And then you should end up with 2 strips of your red, your little box, and your 2 icon strips. So now I'm going to bring in that dark green cardstock. So bringing in the ornament punch now, and we want 3 strips. So I'm just going to be punching from that black line at the front, lining it up on the blue icon on the base plate, and moving it along, and we want 3 of those. So there we have 1. So we'll move on to the second one. So doing exactly the same, just lining it up and then moving it along your base plate and matching up the icons. So just going to move some of this confetti out of the way. You do get this nice star in the punch confetti. You would be able to use that if you would like to keep that. You could use the little stars on some of your layouts. So I'm just going to place those aside. Or if you're going to make a card of some sort, or maybe you want to make a, you know, like a shaker card, you could also make a shaker border, and you could also use these little Christmas punch confetti in one of those, because you've got your nice little wiggly line strips, you've got some stars, you've got your straight lines. And if it's like a Christmas theme, these little punch outs, if I just move the outer edges, so as you can see, those little bits in there, you know, if you had your greens, your reds, your golds, and your platinum, they will look nice in a shaker card, or even if you made a shaker border. So that is the new Christmas ornament punch that is out. So you want to get your hands on one of those. So the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in multi-purpose scissors, multi-purpose tool in case I need it, repositional tape, and my non-stick mat. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to bring in my base layout, and to start off with, I'm just going to adhere my little, just place that there, the little trunk or your little box that your tree would be sitting in. And I'm going to place that, I think I did it, doesn't have to be precise, but it was like 4.25 from the edge. So that way I left enough room to have my photo on the side. And it's about 1/4 inch above that candy stripe sticker. So to start off with our base one, we're going to bring back in the personal trimmer. So I'm going to do each colour strip as we go along. And the other thing that I did is I curved the edges so I could make them a little bit neater on my layout. So the first strip, it's going to be 7.25. So just line this up, and I'm just going to cut it probably just in the middle there. So 7.25, and then I'm just going to get the scissors and just curve the edges like so. So then just going to bring all these little pieces to make this tree. I'm just going to bring in my silicone mat, and I'm just going to put some repositional tape on the back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up, and I've put some of them slightly on an angle as well, but I'm going to line this up so I've got the same amount of ornaments on each side. So you want to count that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to concentrate on those 2 middle ones being in the middle. So you've got similar numbers. So it's just more or less centering it. So the next strip that we have is the red bow, and we're going to cut that at 6.5. And the one after that is your icon, and we're going to cut that at 6. So now I'm just going to close up that arm so that it would just give us a little bit more room. So to start off with, we want to just put some repositional tape on the back of those. And I also place them slightly on an angle and then placing them underneath the ornament. And also centering it so it's in the middle. Because as you're going up, your Christmas tree goes in. So I'm just going to overlap that on the red. And as you can see, we're going to work our way up. So the next one is going to be another ornament. And that is going to measure at 5.25. So we're just going to start on a new one. So I'm going to measure that at 5.25. So it's more or less going to be cut in the middle here. So I'm just going to curve that edge. And then curve this edge down the end. Some repositional tape. And also center that in the middle of that strip. So then we move on to our strips again of our red bow and our icon. And they are going to be, so first is the icon one, and that is going to be 4.75. And then the red bow is going to be at 4. So again, repositional tape. So you're putting this one down first, also underlapping it with your little ornaments, and again centering it, and then you've got your red bows on top. So then we're going to go back to our ornament now, and that is going to be at 3.5. So I'm just going to measure it on my trimmer at 3.5. So I'm going to take this one off and curve the edge, and then 3.5. So then I'm going to take this one off. So it's round about. If it's a little bit over, you want to keep that because you want to curve the edge. So then we're going to center that in the middle of your red strip. So the next color after that, just looking at my layout above, is the red strip, and that is going to be 2.5. And then you have your icons, and that is going to be at 2. So just putting some repositional tape on both of those. So we've got red bows, then the icons, and then our next one is going to be measuring at 2. Let's make sure I got the right amount. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be at 2. So again, I'm going to get the right way. I think it's this way. So I'm just going to curve it at that edge and then mark it at 2, which is about 3 ornaments. And then adhere that one at the top. Again, just slightly putting it on the angle. And then your last little red bow is going to be 1/2 inch. And that is going to have some repositional tape. And that goes at the top. So I'm just going to put all my little pieces aside for the moment. Just clear up my space. So as you can see now, you have got the 2 Christmas trees, and on here I've actually placed one of the stickers down. So I've used the Magic of Christmas, and I've also used the star, and I've stuck that at the top of the tree. So with your photo, I'm just going to put some repositional tape on the back. And that is going to sit on the side slightly. So wherever you would like it on the side, you can just place that down. And then that photo will measure a 6x4. So just checking on that side. No, it doesn't actually. It's not a 6x4. It's a 5.5x4. So 5.5x4 photo. And there you have my design of how to create your Christmas tree. You can use different icons. I mean, on the border ornament punch, you can pick and choose which ornaments that you would like on your tree. You might like to use the same ones, so you can do that also. And this is the second page layout. So without any stickers or anything like that on my layout, that's what your layout would look like. So there is my project recipe for the magic of Christmas for creative memories. I hope you enjoyed my little tutorial today on how I created my Christmas tree and using the magic of Christmas designer papers and stickers, and also this beautiful ornament decorative border punch. So I hope you have a go of this design today. Any questions, any queries, please let me know, and happy scrapping everyone.